Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and thank you for tuning in to Canal Algérie's nightly news. On to the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, receives a special envoy and advisor to the French President for North Africa and the Middle East. The President of the Republic receives as well a letter from the Emir of Qatar handed to him by the Qatari ambassador to Algeria. The President of the Republic receives equally the Kuwaiti ambassador to Algeria, bidding him a farewell visit at the end of his mission. More messages and phone calls from world leaders and prominent figures congratulating President Abdelmajid Tebboune after being re-elected for a second term. Army General Saeed Chingriha, the PNA Chief of Staff, receives the General Manager of the Russian corporation Rosoboronexport. Al Jaish magazine highlights the resounding success of the presidential elections in consolidating the democratic process in the country. And from Naama province, the Interior Minister reiterates the President's commitment to taking charge of all the families hit by the recent rains and floods. Welcome back. We begin with tonight's main story, where the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received today Anne-Claire Legendre, Special Envoy and Advisor on North Africa and the Middle East, to the French President Emmanuel Macron, where she conveyed a letter from the President of the French Republic. The audience took place in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary to the Presidency of the Republic, Boualem Boualem. The President of the Republic received as well a letter from the Emir of the State of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, handed to him by the Qatari ambassador to Algeria, Abdelaziz Al Nama. The audience took place in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary to the Presidency, Boualem Boualem. Similarly, the President of the Republic received the Ambassador of the State of Kuwait, Mohammed Ashbou, who bid him a farewell visit as it is the end of his mission to Algeria. The audience took place in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary to the Presidency of the Republic, Boualem Boualem. Here's what the Kuwaiti ambassador had to say to our reporter following the meeting.
تشرفت قبل قليل بلقاء السيد الرئيس عبدالمجيد تبون، وحظي هذا اللقاء باهتمام عالي من السيد الرئيس.
I had the honor to be received by President Abdelmajid Tebboune. During this meeting, the President displayed the importance he attaches to the exceptional relationship binding him with his brother, the Emir of the State of Kuwait, Mash'al Ahmed Al-Jabir Al-Subah. He expressed his wish for better economic relations between the two countries, notably the commercial exchanges, above all the transportation of Algerian goods. Algeria abounds with great natural resources, thus greater potentialities for bilateral cooperation, in line with the two countries' leaders and the two people's interests.
من حكمة هذين القائدين في تعزيز مصلحة البلدين بكل ما يتعلق الأمر بمصالحهم المشتركة التي تعود بالنفع الأخوي على الشعبين الشقيقين.
Congratulations messages and phone calls keep coming from world leaders and prominent figures to President Abdelmajid Tebboune after his re-election for a second term. Misa Kabash has the details.
President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune received new congratulations as he received a phone call from his brother Abdullah II, ruler of the Kingdom of Jordan, during which he presented his warm congratulations for his re-election, wishing him and the Algerian people more prosperity. For his part, President Tebboune expressed his profound esteem for his brother, King of Jordan, underlining his will to pursue the joint work to reinforce the bilateral relations to the service of both nations. President Tebboune also received a phone call from the Crown Prince of the Brotherly Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, in which he reiterated his congratulations on the occasion of the re-election of President Tebboune for a second term. The two parties also agreed to meet soon. The President of the Republic thanked the Crown Prince for his noble feelings, urging him to convey his warm and fraternal salutations to the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. The former Foreign Affairs Minister Ahmed Talib Al Brahimi congratulated for his part the President of the Republic via a phone call for his victory in the presidential elections, wishing him success in his mission. President Tebboune thanked for his lofty feelings, wishing him all the best.
In the framework of the Algerian-Russian military cooperation, Army General Said Chingriha, Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, received today at the headquarters of the PNA's High Command Alexander Mikhaev, General Director of the Russian Corporation Rosoboron Export. Were present Major Generals and Generals of the National Defense Ministry and the High Command of the PNA, as well as members of the Russian delegation. In its latest issue, Al-Jaish magazine highlighted the resounding success of the presidential elections of September the 7th, which displayed the people's trust in their president Abdelmajid Tebboune and consolidated the democratic process in the country. The board lines of the editorial with Manal Maafa.
In its latest issue, the Al-Jaish magazine headlines its editorial with "Another Triumph for the New Algeria." The article highlights that Algeria has reached a new milestone in consolidating its democratic process with the re-election of Abdelmajid Tebboune during the presidential elections on September 7th. The editorial emphasizes that this election confirmed the people's confidence in the president. The Algerian people, as sovereign, have expressed their support for the continuation of the profound reforms initiated during his first term, which was rich in achievements. The success of this event is also attributed to the unwavering commitment of the National People's Army and security services, which ensured a peaceful atmosphere throughout the electoral period. Strengthened peace, stability and security would enable Algeria to face major future challenges. Today, the country has all the necessary resources to continue on the path of renewal and development. In his message on the occasion of the 62nd anniversary of independence, President Abdelmajid Tebboune clearly stated that no one could ignore that the period we went through was full of challenges, but the sincerity and determination of men and the awareness of the nobility of the mission always herald victory. The triumphant Algeria has succeeded in restoring confidence in a better future, strengthening national cohesion, reviving the economy, supporting vulnerable groups, gaining the trust of youth, and regaining its rightful place regionally and internationally. This triumph is largely based on the crucial role of the National People's Army, the guarantor of stability and security in the face of current challenges, as reaffirmed by Army General Said Chingriha, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army. The PNA has renewed its commitment under the leadership of the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, to make even greater efforts to address the current challenges, particularly the safeguarding of Algeria's independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the preservation of its popular cohesion, sealed for eternity by the blood of millions of valiant martyrs.
On to the government meeting chaired today by the Prime Minister Nadir Al-Arbawi, devoted to the implementation of the directives of the President of the Republic relating to the urgent inventory operation of the losses and damage caused by the floods that hit several regions of the southwest of the country, with the immediate care of the affected families and their compensation, the urgent rehabilitation of the road network and damaged public infrastructure ahead of the start of the school and university year, in addition to ensuring the availability of materials and basic products in the affected provinces by floods. The government has raised the evacuation and accommodation of all the families affected on a temporary basis, with all their needs taken care of. In line with the provisions included in the organic law relating to finance laws, the government has completed the examination of the preliminary bill on the budgetary regulation of the past year. The government also listened to a presentation on the implementation of the strategy for the development of port management in its various dimensions in order to reduce port transit times for imported goods. Finally, the government examined a draft executive decree establishing the rules of road traffic, aiming at introduction of several measures with the aim of promoting road safety, strengthening the security of people and property, and facilitating administrative procedures for the benefit of Algerian nationals established abroad. The Interior Minister headed to Naama province to take stock of the situation following the floods that hit the region. Brahim Murad reiterated the President's support to the affected families. More details with Minasek Bashmos again.
After visiting Bashar, which was severely damaged by the floods, the Interior Minister Brahim Murad, accompanied by that of Water Resources, paid a visit to Naama, another province that suffered from material losses due to this natural disaster.
We're still in shock due to the floods. Now that they're over, we're assessing its damage. We thank the public services, including members of civil defense, who are present to help us and to bring us support.
Minister Murad reiterated once again the state's support as well as the President of the Republic's commitment to take in charge all those affected by the floods.
Everyone hit by these floods will be compensated, as this is the strategy adopted by the state and the President of the Republic.
الفيضانات بارتو هذه هي السياسة تاع الدولة وهذه هي السياسة التي ينتهجها السيد رئيس الجمهورية.
سيتم الانطلاق في الدراسة مباشرة.
In accordance with the guidelines we've received from the high authorities of the country, particularly the President of the Republic, will carry out a study to find the final solution to the river.
The state is indeed racing against the clock to kick off the compensation operation and ease the living conditions for those hit by the recent heavy rains.
To another southern province hit by the recent floods, namely Bashar, where major efforts are being made to return to normal by cleaning the city and removing the ensuing rubbish. More details with both Ikram Bisadat and Manal Maafa.
Spared from flooding following the torrential rains that recently hit the region. The damage is significant, and the operation to assess the families whose homes have been affected by the floods is still ongoing. Here there was a sewing workshop now completely flooded, and it is impossible to access it today. Almost all the homes have been affected, and the material damage is extensive. Civil defense teams remain on site carrying out pumping and drying operations in flooded homes and areas. They are also providing aid and assistance to the affected population. Civil defense personnel remain active in the field, having mobilized the necessary equipment to intervene in the hardest hit areas. As you can see today, operations to pump out stagnant water are underway. We started with the most severely affected homes, where basements were flooded, and are gradually moving towards less impacted houses to cover all the flood-stricken areas of Bashar province. As a reminder, a series of emergency measures were put in place during the visit of the ministerial delegation last Saturday. In addition, a reinforcement of 10 teams of technicals and specialized agents from Algérie des Eaux, coming from several provinces, was dispatched to assist in the repair of drinking water networks damaged by the floods.
On to the operational report of the People's National Army's activity in the past week. In the context of the fight against terrorism, and thanks to the efforts of the PNA, the terrorist named BM, known as Ishaq, surrendered to the military authorities of Burj Beji Mukhtar, possession of Kalashnikov submachine gun, quantity of ammunition, and other items, while other detachments of the PNA arrested 4 support elements to terrorist groups during separate operations across the national territory. The framework of the fight against organized crime and in continuation of the tireless efforts aimed at countering the scourge of drug trafficking in our country, combined detachments of the PNA intercepted, in coordination with the different security services in operations across the military regions, 46 drug traffickers and averted attempts to introduce 6 quintals and 5 kilograms of processed keef through the borders with Morocco, while 29 kilograms of cocaine and over 138,500 psychotropic tablets were seized. In Temnaras, Bortwaji Mukhtar and Ingizan, detachments of the People's National Army arrested 935 individuals and seized 32 vehicles, 159 generators, 117 jackhammers, 8 metal detectors, quantities of mixture of raw gold and stones, in addition to explosives, detonation tools, and other equipment used in illegal gold mining operations. On the other hand, 13 other individuals were arrested, and 1 Kalashnikov submachine gun, 1 automatic pistol, 9 hunting rifles, 26,700 liters of fuel, as well as 6 tons and half of foodstuffs intended for smuggling and speculation were seized during separate operations across the national territory. Similarly, border guards sorted at the level of our national coast attempts at illegal immigration of 226 individuals aboard traditionally made boats, while 191 illegal immigrants of different nationalities were arrested across the national territory. During the speech of the Algerian representative to the UN in Geneva, Rachid Beladhan reaffirmed that Algeria calls on the international community to act for a ceasefire in Gaza and to impose deterrent measures on the Israeli occupier. He also recalled the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination, to an independent and sovereign state with Al-Quds as its capital. This came during the 57th session of the Human Rights Council. Indeed, the atrocities continue in Gaza. A UN school turned into a shelter was targeted, where at least 18 people, including women and children, were killed. As a reminder, the death toll now exceeds 41,000 martyrs, while over 2.2 million Palestinians need urgent aid after almost a year of the war. According to the World Health Programme, 9 out of 10 children have contracted at least one disease. Let's turn our attention to football now, where the national football team is back to Algiers after defeating the Liberian side in capital Monrovia with 3-0 as part of the 2025 African Cup of Nations qualifiers. The Desert Foxes topped the Group E with 6 points. Best wishes for them in the upcoming games. And with that, we end tonight's bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Be well.